We're going to turn to meteorologist David Aldrich. David, a familiar face on television in our region. He now runs the weather site davidaldrich.com, and in the interest of full disclosure, has many weather discussions with his wife, our own Stephanie Aldrich. Thanks for coming in, David. And when I'm out there shoveling with people, what I keep hearing is, man, I've never seen anything like this before. And in this case, it's not actually the woe is me hyperbole. There's some truth to that.
It's true. It's true, Tom. And it is great to be here, by the way. I would say that conventionally speaking, weather is maybe 10% variability and 90% perception. It's, oh, it really seems hot, or it really seems cold. But it really has been remarkable to have 3 major winter storms fall within 8 weeks. So while Delaware may be the first state, we're not unique. It's been happening all around us. We've heard about D.C. and Atlantic City, and of course Philadelphia getting heavy snows. But you know, records are meant to be broken, right? I figure that's one way to look at it. Also, too, there's probably some good explanation. I wouldn't say that I have all the answers. Right. I definitely don't have all the answers. Ask my wife. But I do have some insight as to, I think, why this is tending to happen. We've seen a rapid development of El Nino, which, when you're talking about sea surface temperatures west of South America, that tends to configure a storm pattern that takes storms right into California, slams into California, and rides into Texas, dropping some snows in maybe Amarillo, Texas, and then having just fury come into Delaware. So we had Tallyville to Townsend, record snows from Smyrna to Selbyville. It's been a really remarkable winter so far. And so by the time it's over, don't be surprised if we've had 3 to 4 winters worth rolled up into one in terms of snowfall.
The other thing I hear from my friends who are up north is that this is kind of a laughable situation for them, because they seem to be getting less snow in, say, my friends in Buffalo or Maine or in upstate New York than we are down here. And that's also a bit of an oddity, right?
It is an oddity, and things kind of go in patterns. It's an interesting way, because now that the storm track is taking across the lower half of the country, the cold air has moved down. I mean, if the headline is juicy storms meet cold air, we've heard belly aching down in Florida. The citrus farmers down there have had some of the worst damage since 1989. But it has a global perspective, too, because Russia, Europe, China, for example, has had some of the coldest weather since 1971. So we are not unique in Delaware, but it just is part of the territory.
And I guess when a pattern like this kind of gets locked in for a winter, is it really locked in for, shall we say, the rest of this winter?
I would say he's not often accurate, but in this case, the groundhog was probably right. We probably have another 4 to 6 weeks of this, but not necessarily the same caliber of storms. We're going to get more snow, I think, until this pattern or transition from a strong El Nino begins to weaken a bit.
And I guess the next factor is what happens when all of this melts, or when will it all melt? Let's start with that. I mean, are we likely to see significant melting of the snow in the short term, or is this going to be a long melt?
I think for the next week to 2 weeks, temperature's going to stay below normal, especially from the mid-Atlantic to the southeast. So I think it's going to be a little bit longer before we see real rapid melting. Obviously, when the sun's out full, it will start to show signs, but we'll have to keep an eye on the rivers and creeks, no doubt, as we move into early spring.
I was going to say, I mean, that's the big issue here. A lot of snow, it's got to go somewhere when it melts, and that could create a whole host of other problems.
Very true. 2 other points I'd make. We mentioned El Nino as one opportunity. The fact that we've had a very quiet solar year, meaning the sunspots, when we have a lot of them, tend to make the Earth a little bit hotter. The quiet sun has been an issue for the last 2 years. Okay. And you throw that element into a very strong El Nino, there's arguments that that's why the northern hemisphere has been so cold. We also had a cool summer. A lot of people don't remember, in Newcastle County, we only hit 90 degrees at the airport, Newcastle County Airport, 6 times last year. We didn't even hit 90 officially in July. So we had a cool summer and a very cold winter. So there's some signs of this maybe even back as far as the summer. And another element is possibly the volcanoes. There's been some talk that high latitude volcanoes, specifically the one known as Mount Redoubt in Alaska, blew its top 25 times last spring. And another one in Russia blew its top in mid-June. So all of that debris, all those gases, move up into typically the stratosphere and can sometimes make things a little bit warmer there and colder at the surface. And hence we're getting a little bit of more snow this year than maybe other years.
So when people are out there cursing, they can curse any number of factors for the predicament they're in.
And it's a complicated issue, yeah.
David Aldrich, we appreciate you coming in and providing some insight for us.
Thank you.